Welcome back to those of you who saw part 1 of this video. If you're watching this and haven't seen part 1 of this two-parter, go check it out now. This video will make more sense if you've seen the other one first. In part 1 of this video, we touched on the adult life of Sam Cooke, how he met Bobby Womack, how Sam became Bobby's mentor, and how the two of them became close friends prior to Sam's tragic death in 1964. In this video, we'll really get into the meat of what exactly Bobby Womack did that makes us say he did Sam Cooke dirty. After Sam Cooke's death, SAR Records, his record label, shut down, and the Valentinos, the group consisting of Bobby Womack and his brothers, broke up. Within days of Cooke's death, Bobby began a relationship with Sam's widow, Barbara, who was 10 years older than him. This is the kind of dude that Bobby Womack was. Rumor has it that he wore one of Sam Cooke's suits while driving one of Sam Cooke's cars and showed up at Sam Cooke's funeral with Sam Cooke's wife. Wow. Bobby claimed to be stepping up to take care of Barbara and her 2 children, but people saw him as an opportunist. Regardless of how anyone else felt about it though, Sam's widow and Bobby got married less than 3 months after Sam was killed. Bobby's father was against the marriage. He didn't like a 30-year-old woman marrying a 20-year-old boy, his words not ours, and making him responsible for Sam's and Barbara's 11-year-old daughter Linda. Prior to getting married to Barbara, Bobby said, "You must remember I was Sam's guitar player for a long time. We were very close. I actually feel that he would want me to do this. I stayed around her during the crisis. She really needed someone at the time. Love is love, and that is what it is with us." When I told her how I felt, she was shocked. It took her a while to get used to the idea. If that's true, he was already trying to marry her literally days after Sam's death. Scandalous. If you want to do something wrong, you'll find an excuse that makes you believe what you're doing is okay. It seemed like Bobby subscribed to this theory, but he wasn't the only one. Barbara joined in the act too, saying that Sam would want her to do this. She went on to say that Sam would say that time has nothing to do with it, as there's only a little bit of time to be happy. So if you find it, you should pursue it. Be happy whatever it takes. She claimed that Sam and her had discussed this before, and that he only wanted her and the kids to be happy forever, whether he was around or not. She even went on to compare Bobby to Sam, saying that even though he was younger, she loved him, and that he has the mind of somebody like Sam, and how he was so much like him. She also waxed on about how smart he was and businesslike, and how attentive Bobby was. Finally, she talked about how much her 2 daughters, Linda and Tracy, loved him. Interesting. After they got married, both Bobby and Barbara were ostracized from their families and faced hostile crowds wherever they went. Bobby's family completely abandoned him. Despite having 4 brothers, nobody had his back during this time. Somebody watching out for him would have been a big help though, because at one point Sam Cooke's brothers tracked Bobby down and delivered some street justice in answer to his treachery. They found him in a hotel in Chicago where they beat him, pistol whipped him, and broke his jaw. To add insult to injury, Bobby's music career stalled. He was frozen out of the soul music world. No artists would work with him, and radio stations wouldn't play his music. It was reported that some stations even went so far as to throw Womack's records in the trash. Despite the way everyone else felt about it, Bobby's and Barbara's marriage continued. 2 of them had a son they named Vincent, born in 1966. This was some weird stuff, as Barbara had already had a son named Vincent with Sam Cooke. Remember, that was the son that drowned in 1963 at only 18 months old. Sadly, Vincent Womack would end his own life in 1986. Bobby and Barbara's marriage lasted for about 5 years. However, in 1970, their marriage ended abruptly. Why? Barbara caught Bobby in bed with her teenage daughter, Linda, his stepdaughter. Linda, you may recall, is the same daughter that was 11 when Barbara and Bobby got married in 1965. She was 17 by this time. What happened when they got caught? As Womack recalls, Barbara turned on the lights in the darkened room and caught he and Linda kissing. Barbara then said to him, "You dirty effing fatherless man," in more colorful language, of course. "What are you doing with my daughter?" She didn't even wait for an answer. Barbara shot at Bobby with a .32, grazing his temple. He tried to run, but the damage was done. Bobby would later disclose that he and Linda would sneak out of the house to spend intimate time together. Obviously, there was at least one time where they didn't do that. Later, when discussing what happened between he, Barbara, and Linda, Bobby uttered one of the biggest understatements ever when he said, "That was all really effed up." Way to sum it up, Bobby. Soap opera type stuff, right? Hold on though, it doesn't end there. Let's introduce Cecil Womack into the story. Cecil was Bobby's younger brother. Cecil was still in the music business after the Valentinos broke up and had even married into it himself. He had married Mary Wells, the Motown singing star who was most famous for the song My God. They were married for 11 years, marrying in 1966, but the marriage ended in 1977. Why did they get divorced? Cecil found out Mary was having an affair with his older brother, Curtis Womack. Not only did she have an affair with Curtis, she had a baby with him too. Oh, them Womacks. You can't make this stuff up. Cecil would bounce back though. About 2 years later, he would get married again. Guess who he married? Linda Cooke. Sam Cooke's daughter, Linda Cooke. Bobby Womack's stepdaughter, Linda Cooke. The teenage girl that Bobby Womack had messed around with, Linda Cooke. Talk about keeping it in the family. That's some nasty stuff. Cecil and Linda would become an in-demand songwriting team. They co-wrote and produced Teddy Pendergrass's smash hit, Love TKO. They also wrote for, among others, George Benson, Patti LaBelle, and Johnny Taylor. Additionally, they formed the R&B duo Womack and Womack and would release several successful albums. Oh yeah, they also found time to have 7 children. So let's get this straight. Bobby Womack was those kids' uncle and their step-granddaddy. This stuff is just too much. As for Bobby, he would lose another child through tragedy. His son, Truth Bobby, born during Bobby's relationship with another woman, died at 4 months old due to a freak accident when he was found wedged between a wall and a bed. For many years after his breakup with Barbara, Bobby would struggle with drug addiction. He would blame this on his son Bobby Truth's death, even though he also admitted to using drugs for years prior to the boy's birth. Between alcohol, cocaine, pills, and weed, Bobby claims he would stay up for 7 or 8 days straight under the influence, and that he and Sly Stone often used drugs together. In later years, Bobby would suffer from diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. In the last years of his life, lying in a hospital bed recovering from surgery, Womack was still anxious to get back on the road and perform. "Why? I'm broke," he proclaimed. There's a saying that what goes around comes around. That just could be why Bobby had to go through all he went through in his life. After all his maneuvering and treachery, he had next to nothing as an old man. We hope you enjoyed this wild ride and part 2 of our dive into the background of how Sam Cooke was stabbed in the back by his protege Bobby Womack. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and be sure to come back and check out more videos. See you soon.